Good afternoon and welcome to the show. It's a loaded show, and you can rest assured that Kayode Ojo is with me to discuss so many things with us today. Kayode, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, Samson. Thank you for hosting me, and good afternoon to the viewers.
Yeah.
To God be the glory.
It's good to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
What do you make of Wydad Athletic Club's victory?
It was a victory well deserved. Looking at how tenacious those players were on the Wydad part, because they knew coming to the match they were playing against the odd. They were playing against the defending champion. You understand? They were playing against the defending champion, who at the last finals they won the same tournament in the same stadium.
Exactly.
Against Kaiser Chiefs. So they know what they were against, and so they made up their mind that if you look at the second goal, you will see the tenacity in the same player that scored the goal. That's Moutaraji, who scored the goal, and at his first attempt he went further again before he could get into the net. So it's a tenacious, fantastic performance from them. Defensively they were solid. In the midfield they were a bit coordinated, but at least you can't take it away from the Al-Ahly team, who did all what they can. But like you have said earlier, possession game doesn't really win a tournament for you.
But looking at it, I mean, Al-Ahly were gunning for a third successive title, and there were concerns at first that the final is being played at the stadium in Morocco, which is basically the home of Wydad Athletic Club. And what do you make of CAF in terms of final venues? Should they be fixed before the tournament, or is it when it gets to the semi-final stage, CAF now decides, okay, who is to host the tournament itself? I mean, for UEFA, we know quite well that, oh, okay, the final is this, the final is here, you know, from beginning.
Except there are circumstances that will warrant a hosting stadium to say, okay, I'm pulling out of this, or I don't have what it takes, or some security challenges around the stadium. So there might be need for that. But from the beginning, the final of every tournament has to be stated from the beginning. And this is a clarion call to the CAF representative that now this is just what they do in Europe. They take these finals to different parts of Europe where their football are not even, people don't hear about their football. But the UEFA people, they usually take these finals to. So how many of our cities in Africa has actually hosted a final, even when they don't have representative in the CAF Champions League? As much as they are still part of African continent, they need to be involved. They need to give them this kind of awareness, this sense of belonging, that the footballer fans around will be able to say, okay, if we can have this kind of atmosphere for a final in our stadium, then we should push our team to give their best and get away to get to the final. So I think that's another way the CAF team can actually make football still look more beautiful, more encouraging in Africa. Okay,
just before we leave this conversation, Wydad Athletic Club, yes, champions of Africa, they will be representing us at the FIFA Club World Cup. Do you think there will be a worthy representative?
Of course, we've been having challenge as per the performance of every African representative at the FIFA Club World Cup. You know, so most of those past representatives, Al-Ahly has been the one that has
the shining light.
So to say. But I don't know. We never can tell. But Wydad Casablanca, we believe they should be able to do, I mean, a bit better, and we hope that at least they can get us as African representatives to the final of the FIFA Club World Cup. Okay,
reactions still trail. You know, they just concluded the UEFA Champions League, which took place last Saturday. And it's not just about Real Madrid's victory. There are also talks regarding Liverpool and where they go from here. A season that seemed so promising with the quadruple dream ended up being the domestic double, it must be said. Not bad for a team, but for a club like Liverpool, who are hitting lofty heights, it begs the question, where do they go from here? Especially with the uncertainty that surrounds Sadio Mane and his contract. Liverpool, yes, the season didn't end on the kind of notes, you know, they would have expected. They lost the Premier League by lone points, as well as the Champions League by lone goal. Within 6 days, 2 titles, you know, off the radar, but they still ended up with a double. That seems like a very good season. But looking at it, where do they go from here? And Sadio Mane, again, his future is up in the air.
The Liverpool team under Jurgen Klopp, I remember, we just need to go back to the memory lane. 2018, they played against the same
Real Madrid team.
They lost in the final, 3-1. And the next season, they came back so coordinated, so hot, and they got to the final.
Yes.
And eventually they beat a Tottenham in an all-English final. So you never can take that away from the Jurgen Klopp's team, judging from the past seasons that we have seen him.
That
so
they would fight back.
I see them rallying around together, making sure that the players who are not happy are happy, and then players whose hearts are not really committed to Liverpool are given the chance to, okay, where do you want to go? You have to be, like the case of Sadio Mane now.
Yes.
They are trying to make the replacement available before they can make up their mind on saying, okay, what do you want? Because they're actually looking at too many options. We have Christopher and Kuku, and then they're looking at Darwin Núñez from Benfica. So these are things that they are actually considering presently before they will now begin to decide on what do we do about Sadio Mane's future.
But looking at Sadio Mane, I mean, 6 years at the club, a legend, you know, over 120 goals scored for the club. Salah's future as well is up in the air, and both players have just 12 months on paper, but we know quite well that it's just 6 months because by January they become free agents and can negotiate with other clubs. Should they tie down both players, especially Mane, who seems like is set to leave the club for Bayern Munich?
It depends on what the both people.
Are they still, based on what they're delivering on the field of play?
For what they are delivering on the pitch, as a Liverpool fan, you will not, any Liverpool fan won't want these two players to go. Remember that when Jurgen Klopp first came to Liverpool, the first player he signed
was Sadio Mane.
Was Sadio Mane. So on this foundation, he built all of this kind of tradition he plays, football that he plays now in Liverpool. And now when this kind of football player is trying to leave, then there will be reasons why he's leaving. And you know, I was reading some report online, and some people were mentioning, it's because it was not celebrated when he won the African Cup of Nations because of Mo Salah. But that being said, you can't take it away from a player who is delivering
on a consistent basis,
season out, and his happiness in the football club is very important to his, as well as his performance on the field of play.
Okay, let's see where Liverpool goes from here. It must be said that they have a busy summer when it comes to recruiting players and trying to extend the contract of some of them, including Mohamed Salah. Just as we said, it's yet to be seen if Sadio Mane will leave. He said he'll give a special response to his future, or a special answer in his words to his future when it comes to after the UEFA Champions League, which has ended about 4 days now. So we await with bated breath the decision of Sadio Mane. Does he stay at Anfield, or he decides to move over to the Allianz Arena with Bayern Munich at the forefront of his signature? Time would definitely tell. Still talking about the UEFA Champions League final, UEFA has now officially commissioned an independent report regarding the scenes that took place at the stadium, or outside the stadium, I beg your pardon, where several Liverpool fans were denied entry. There was the use of tear gas by the police force. There were talks of fraudulent tickets, fake tickets, and that was again, it's just messed up, really. UEFA came up with the excuse that it was the late arrival of fans that brought about the delay. Then subsequently they said for security reasons. I mean, those are two separate reasons already given by UEFA. Then you had the French police and the French sports minister saying fans wanted to make use of fake tickets to get into a stadium, and that the fake tickets were on an industrial scale. In other words, they were produced en masse. But Liverpool are refuting the claim. They've called for investigation. There was the use of tear gas, to just disperse the crowd. It was really a mess. What do you make of the organization of the final?
Considering the caliber of UEFA in organizing UEFA Champions League season in, season out, they have been consistent with giving us the best when it comes to accepting fans. Away fans on a neutral ground. These two teams, they are on a neutral ground.
And France seems coordinated as a country.
So what I saw, what I'm just looking at in all of this thing is that I believe it was just the. Could it be the 9-minute change of venue for the final? That could be the issue.
It was over 2 months.
But it was over 2 months.
Exactly.
So that was what some of the Liverpool fans were saying. Now, if they came late, like you have said, they came late for a final. You should have had a particular time that you will say, okay, when it's this social time, you are not going to take any more entry.
But we saw fans with their tickets even showing it.
And when I now heard the claim from UEFA that it was an industrial scale of producing, and on videos making rounds on social media, you saw Liverpool fans showing their tickets originally bought for this particular Champions League final. And then in all of this, the way and manner the police handled the whole situation make the matter got worse. Because when you look at the video we saw online, you saw a police officer tear gassing a football fan at the other end, unarmed.
I mean, behind the barricade.
So, and they are directly using that on him. So that's the whole thing that made the matter now got worse. That the Liverpool people are now saying that the police are treated their people like animals, and they are here to come and support their team. And of course, you see when they were showing the part of the match, you saw some of the stadium, they were not occupied.
You didn't have fans
there. They were not occupied. So we expect that the UEFA, from the investigation team they've set up, which the man who is taking over, who is taking Dr. Rodriguez, is saying that he's going to be working on pro bono because he wants to, that's his reputation is at stake for us to give us what exactly is really the issue. And the Liverpool base have actually opened, online, yes, where you can
petitions and
submit your own experience as to what happened in around the stadium. So we hope that when they come out, that the UEFA panel that will sit on it before they will take a decision, they will take the best decision that will make them to learn from the mistakes that really brought them to that particular point, so that subsequently there will not be issues like that again.
Okay, let's hope that UEFA gets it right in terms of ticketing issues and all of that. Again, it must be said that the beautiful game had to be delayed for over 30 minutes. And for the beauty of Real Madrid winning their 14th title, the scenes outside the stadium definitely overshadowed that win, which is quite unfortunate. We want the attraction, the attention to be on the field of play rather than outside, where it's all virtually controversial all the time. But let's move away from there now and talk about Chelsea Football Club. Yes, the takeover is complete. It's official now. The Todd Boehly era, you can say today, has started. Talking about Chelsea and their new owners, Abramovich no longer owns the club. £4.25 billion. That was the price that was paid for Chelsea Football Club to have a new owner. But let's look at the direction. What are we projecting? This is the Boehly era. Several players are out of contract at Chelsea. It's a delicate situation. You have Rudiger, who is virtually, signed, sealed, and delivered to Real Madrid. Andres Christensen as well, Barcelona. You have the club captain Cesar Azpilicueta as well as Marcos Alonso. Both players seem like they're going back to Spain. So many players are out of contract even next season. And there's still the uncertainty regards who is coming in and all of that. The Todd Boehly era, how does it start, really?
First of all Chelsea fans now, what they'll be hoping is that they hope for the best. But when you now look at the body language of Roman Abramovich when he was leaving, he said he wants to be sure that the football club is handed over to a safe hand, to a safer hand, so to say. And you can't take away the love, the passion that this man has for the Chelsea Football Club. So he also want to make sure that this same feeling is reflecting in the people that will be taking over the football club. And if you look at the first match that Todd Boehly was at Stamford Bridge, you will see that yes, the passion is just kind of similar to that of Abramovich, who will also most of the times will be at the stadium to watch them play. And so, but going forward, the Todd Boehly team consortium, they actually come forward, and then they've made a statement and said, okay, we are committed to the football club, to making the football club winning more and more, and then promoting the youth levels, doing
and the
well,
women's team as well,
and the women's team and every part of the Chelsea Football Club. So I want to have the belief that I don't think there will be any difference as to what we experienced during the Roman Abramovich era and the Boehly era. One thing that I might be different, which we can't conclude yet, is the way and manner,
financial power,
not just the financial power, the way and manner Roman Abramovich change
Managers. That's
So,
true. That's true.
So at any feeling, maybe you just say Abramovich is not feeling too good about this coach, and the next morning you just say on the media that they've gone on mutual consent.
But those are justified for him because I mean, during his 19-year stint, they won 21 trophies.
Yeah.
Yes, you may have over 12 managers during that time spell, but what matters most is the club is winning. So it's similarly justified for Abramovich in that sense.
Yes, you know what matters is the target that you want to achieve. How you go about achieving the target is now left for who.
The end justifies
the
the
means.
means.
That's what it means. So he is not actually concerned or particular about the money used to pay all of this manager off. But what he's concerned about is that I want to leave a blueprint. I want to leave, you know, people to look back at history in Chelsea and said, at the point in time, this was what happened. This was how the image of Chelsea Football Club was changed. And this is how you look back at the Lawrence they've won and you feel, okay, yes, this owner has done so well. And that's why he is always drastic about that. If he's not seeing them going in that direction of winning trophies, a season is just ready to just give the stick to the manager.
Okay, let's see how it pans out. Todd Bowley's era has taken place. It must be said now that the Clear Lake Capital are the largest shareholder for Chelsea Football Club, talking about the consortium. But when it comes to the controlling power, that rests solely with Todd Bowley. So when it comes to day-to-day running and all of that, you can rest assured Todd Bowley is the man calling the shots.